7 o'clock, folks.
I am.
Hey, 7 o'clock. You ready?
Yes, it's 7 o'clock.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Bloomfield Board of Education for a special meeting today, February 28th, 2019, and it is 7 p.m. Whoa. Let the record show that we have a quorum and we have 6 board members in attendance. Please rise for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Guzman, any public comment listed? Okay, seeing how there is no public comment, we're going to go straight to new business. Board action on superintendent's proposed 2019-2020 budget. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. Good evening, Chairman Harris, board members, guests, and our television viewing audience. This evening we will provide a final overview of the proposed budget for 2019-2020. The budget will be outlined by William Guzman, our Chief Operational Officer. And as I noted in my presentation to you last week and in the budget workshops, the spending plan totals $46.8 million. The 10.98% increase is higher than in recent years. The 3 main drivers for this budget are: number 1, substantial increase to our health insurance account, which comprises 7.43% of the increase, and that translates into $3.1 million. Rising costs and tuition for special education and magnet school students, and the addition of 11 teachers, 7 support staff, and technology upgrades. These have been included as a result of discussion with parents and in collaboration with school leaders. The cost of additional staff is about $1.1 million and makes up close to 2.7% of the budget increase. We are committed to adding more resources to our emerging school district. Our mitigation strategies include significant reductions in central office staff, projected to save at least $540,000. Bloomfield has a track record of being fiscally responsible with the educational budget. The budget history includes 4 consecutive years of a 0% increase from 2012 to 2015. The average annual percentage increase over the past 9 years is 2.23%, or $915,000, $163 a year. Our return on investment to this town with those minimal increases has been notable. Double-digit increases on the graduation rate at Bloomfield High School from 2011 to now. Double-digit increases on our SAT and Smarter Balance scores. Statewide and national attention for increased SAT scores. Recognition of Bloomfield High School by the U.S. News and World Report. Bloomfield Public Schools is performing slightly above state average according to the most recent Next Generation Accountability Report from the Connecticut State Department of Education. Global Experience was nationally recognized as a school of excellence by the Magnet Schools of America. And excellence in academics, athletics, and the arts, including 3 state championships in 2018-2019. Football, girls and boys track and field. This proposal allows us to sustain the momentum of the district academic growth. And at this time, I would like to thank Dominic, Elisa Pierce, and all the staff of the business department under the leadership of Mr. William Guzman for their hard work in constructing this budget. And at this time, I would ask Mr. Bill Guzman if he would come forward and just give a quick overview or recap of the 2019-2020 budget.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. Just a couple of statements. This budget, as you know, is a plan that aims to increase learning opportunities for Bloomfield students as they progress through their grades. Ultimately, the district goal is to ensure that students graduate from Bloomfield Public Schools career and college ready. The budget document provides information to you regarding the school district's plans for next fiscal year. It is a plan to meet the obligations of the school district, whether these obligations are federal mandates, state mandates, or any other number of contractual obligations. Over the past several days, we've met with each board member to explain in detail the elements of the budget and to answer specific questions. As Dr. Thompson stated, we are faced this year with certain cost drivers that result in increases beyond what Dr. Thompson has historically presented. Nonetheless, and please note that we have several mitigation efforts and factors that have implemented to control cost. First, as Dr. Thompson mentioned, we are reducing central office staffing and associated cost. Secondly, this year we established a Steps to Success program for children who would otherwise be receiving their instruction in out-of-district facilities. This initiative served 2 purposes. It provided students with a program to meet their educational needs in town rather than busing them to an out-of-town facility. And 2, the program saved in tuition dollars. Thirdly, we are continuing to negotiate with the bus companies to see if, in fact, for the coming school year, they will keep their fees at the current rate, 0% increase. One of the companies has agreed. The other company we are still negotiating with. Fourthly, as you may have noticed, in the midst of a construction of a solar farm on the Board of Education grounds, this initiative, alongside the solar roof program located on the roof of A-Race School, will save the district approximately $80,000 per year over the next 20 years in utility cost. And finally, in regard to factors that may mitigate the impact of this budget going forward, we have to monitor the work of the General Assembly during this legislative session, specifically to see if there are increases to state educational grants, such as special education, excess cost, education cost sharing, magnet school grants, and so forth. As you know, increases to these grants are long overdue. Having said that, any questions that you may have, glad to respond to those.
Any questions?
Just comment to the superintendent, Mr. Guzman. I met one-on-one at the budget workshop with the administration, finance director, and they addressed all of my concerns. Again, my main concern was as OPEB in the health, and increase in health. I also want to recognize the fact that historically the community has demanded that we uplift the academics here in the town. Secondly, recognize the administration for taking into account those parents, particular group of parents which have rallied the last 3 or 4 years, and to put that increase in there of 11 teachers and support staff to address specifically the issues they raised. So I want to thank the administration.
Other comments?
Yes, I'd like to make just a couple of comments. Just to go back on what you said, Mr. Ike, that specifically 11 teachers and 7 support staff individuals, these are non-certified people, that they included within this budget. And I understand that equates to about $1.1 million. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
that is
And
correct.
this is based on the request of those parents, correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Can you, Mr. Guzman, can you just speak a little bit more about the Step for Success program and the benefits of us having it here, and perhaps projected benefits of having it here in terms of maybe having it be used as an income driver at some point in time? Can you talk just briefly about that?
Well, one of the advantages to the families of the parents and the children themselves is the fact that the program's in town. Currently, we have 11 students in the program. And as we mentioned several times, the average tuition for children that are in those programs is about $75,000
So let me just
per
stop
child.
there. So if we had 11 students in the program in town now, but if they had to leave to go somewhere else, we, the town, the district would be paying, how much is that again? I just want to be clear.
Approximately $75,000 per student.
Per student.
It's an average.
Per student.
On average.
On average.
Thank you.
Or it could be slightly less, but that's the average,
Yeah.
$75,000 per student.
Plus transportation.
Plus transportation.
Plus transportation.
Good point.
Okay.
Sure.
Other comments? Ms. Davis?
Yes, please. Thank you. I did have an opportunity to sit down, and I do appreciate the time that you went over the budget, but we know that the biggest driver is according to the budget driver, is the health. And have we done anything and looked into any other opportunities that is going to help us cut the cost for that?
One of the things that we did 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, we moved from Anthem Blue Cross to Cigna, which is our current carrier. When we made that move, there were some cost savings that were in reduced fees from Cigna that we took advantage of in that year. And so we're continuing that relationship. It's always difficult to go out to bid for health insurance because of contractual obligations that are in all the negotiated contracts that talk about when you make a switch over, you have to have at least a comparable or equal to what the old company was. One of the other factors in terms of reducing cost is wellness programs. We have in district a wellness committee made up of teachers and students on the committee, as well as administrators. That wellness committee takes into account factors such as workers' compensation is one. We have factors of how do we promote healthy lifestyle. And one of the things that Dr. Thompson has stressed upon us is to talk to Cigna about what initiatives Cigna has to provide employees so that they, in fact, can join a health club free of charge or a reduced amount. So those are some of the things that we're looking at right now. There's plenty of programs that are out there that promote healthy eating and healthy habits. So that's one way that we're looking to mitigate the cost. The other thing is we're going into contract negotiations with 2 of the unions. One of the things that we did with the previous contract negotiations with the certified administrators and certified teachers was we tried to get members to move to the high deductible plan, which is a cheaper, cost-wise, it's a cheaper plan to the individuals. It's a richer plan, actually, but it's a cost-effective move. One of the things we plan to do with the 2 upcoming contract negotiations is to have those same provisions incorporated. And as you know, anytime you get into contract negotiations, it's a bilateral agreement and all of that. So we intend to do that. The other thing is an increase in the contribution rate of employees, 15%, and the district pays 85%. So we can increase those numbers on an annual basis. But again, that's subject to negotiation, but that's something that we're going to bring forward as we sit down at the table.
Thank you. And the last thing, we have had, from 2000, since Dr. Thompson has been our superintendent, I noticed that we've had 0 increases, and now we're going from that over the years. And as you shared with me, and when we met, it's like, that really is only like a 2.3% overall increase that we've had since his tenure. And I think that that's something that we need to look at. But I also think that what's driving the cost, what's making the budget more, and the 10.9% increase is like shocking for us in our town. So we just need to make sure that we are looking at that and being efficient, especially if the health is driving up the budget. So I thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Other comments? Mrs. Bolton?
Thank you. First of all, Superintendent Thompson, I'd like to thank you so much for submitting such a well-designed budget. And I'm particularly pleased, as my colleague has mentioned, about the responsive to our parents and the requests with the teachers and the non-certified staffing in the schools.
And also technology too, that's another component. In addition to
Technology, yes.
technology,
Okay.
we increased the technology line item budget significantly. So that
Which was also in response to our
Absolutely,
parents.
that is
Okay.
correct.
And I thank you, I really appreciate that. Bill, you had, in our workshop, you did another great job of explaining that thing that is very difficult for many of us to understand, and that's the other post-employee benefit. Would you mind just once again just sharing so that we all hear that again, so that everyone understands, which is considered one of the major cost drivers? So
Yes.
You can just,
Yeah, a couple of comments real quick. The 4 years that Dr. Thompson presented a 0% budget, which is unheard of actually, and it's wonderful. The other post-employment benefits was not in the books. And as I mentioned at a previous meeting, those other post-employment benefits is an onerous number. As a matter of fact, I read an article today that calls OPEB the OPEB crisis. So nonetheless, it's something that impacts across the nation, all governmental entities, local, countywide, so forth. You have to account for the liability that employees have earned through their employment with a governmental agency. So with the Board of Education, there have been employees in the past who have retired, and there are current employees, non-certified employees, that are going to be eligible for medical insurance, dental insurance, health insurance when they retire. That's an obligation. That costs something. And those cost factors, about 10 or 12 years ago, through the Governmental Standards Accounting Board, obligated all governmental agencies to account for fiscally. And so since that time, towns, county governments, cities have had to set aside money in their budget to cover the eventual cost of those liabilities. And that's why we have actuaries involved in this whole process. The town and the board have a contract with Hooker and Holcomb. Those are the actuaries that calculate this all out and calculate the fee going forward over a number of years. So that is other post-employment benefits, and that's the origin of it from the Governmental Standards Accounting Board. I think it was about 10 or 12 years ago that they came out with that directive.
so by non-certified members, you're talking about cafeteria workers, paraprofessionals, secretaries, custodians. Who else would be in that?
Anybody who is not part of the State Teachers Retirement Board program. So the TRB, the Teachers Retirement Board, is for certified personnel, which are teachers, administrators. So anybody outside of that
Would be a part
would
of
be,
this.
yes.
Great, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah. Other comments? Other comments? Okay. At this point, Mr. Walters?
Yes, I move that the Bloomfield Board of Education accept and adopt the superintendent's proposed budget for fiscal year 2019 through 2010 in the amount
2020.
2020. Okay, we have a typo. 2020 in the amount of $46,791,571 as presented.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. Are there any final questions? Hearing none, seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstentions? The motion carries. Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All those, we are adjourned.